Before becoming a motivational speaker, I spent most of my career in a commercial environment. And it was always challenging times. We always had massive targets to meet. We always had huge amounts of competition. And on top of that, we always had headhunters trying to steal our very best people. And the one thing I never, ever had, I never had the budget that I felt I needed. And I certainly didn't have the money our competitors appeared to have. And when I think about it, the only real resource I ever had around me in my teams was people like me, everyday people. And together as everyday people, every day we had to try and deliver extraordinary results. And to do that, we had to do several things. We had to pull together as one big collaborating, sharing team, a team based on trust with absolutely all of us taking ownership for driving the business forward. We had to put customers at the heart of everything we ever considered doing, always looking at ourselves through their eyes. We had to be more proactive. We had to be more innovative. We had to be more agile. And we also had to do something else. And that was differentiate ourselves from our competitors. And our secret weapon for doing that was these little things here, what I call the TNTs. They're tiny, noticeable things. They're absolutely tiny, but they are incredibly explosive. And they create the biggest, longest, lasting pictures in people's minds. These are things people see. They show you care. They make and break relationships. They are capable of blowing people away, and yet they cost nothing. These are the visible difference between a 4- and a 5-star customer experience. They're the difference between a manager and a leader. They're the difference between a team that's floundering and a team that's flying. These are the things that people go home and moan to their partners about, but daren't mention at work for fear of them being seen as perhaps too petty or too trivial. You see, these are the things that please people, and these are the things that really annoy us. Little things that tend to irritate me. Have you ever met anybody that when you're talking to them, they can't stop continuously keep using imaginary air commas to explain everything to you? Oh, we had such a cool time last night. It was happening. Some people have been on the advanced course recently. They started using little mini question marks. What do you think? What do you think? I'll tell you what I think. Ask a marriage guidance counselor. Why do marriages break up after 20 good years? Is it big things like taking out pistols at dawn? No, it's things like leaving the toilet seat up, using my razor to shave her legs. My wife has a single sentence that just sends me, a normally placid family man, nuclear thermo. I'm famous amongst my family for misplacing things around the house. At this precise moment, I'm bordering on a mild heart attack. I'm late to drive to a conference I'm due to speak at, and I cannot for the life of me find my car keys anywhere. And my wife sits there with a big smug smile on her face, a cup of coffee in her hand, and she says, oh, well, darling, they've been the last place you look. They always are. Well, of course they will be. I can see them over there. I'll just pretend to look over here for 5 minutes. How many times have you said to somebody, oh, we've just booked a holiday? And they turn around and say, anywhere nice? No, this year we're hoping to go somewhere that's awful. You see, between the conscious mind and the subconscious, there is a grill, a filter. We cannot, as human beings, take on board big things. Whereas TNTs, they're so small, they're able to crash straight through that protective filter and gain instant access to our subconscious, where upon entry, they detonate, triggering deep, dormant emotions. I'll give you an example of a TNT. I was out in Antwerp speaking at an event out there. When I'd finished speaking, they invited people up on stage to share with the audience their own personal TNT experiences. And a young guy got up on stage and he told us a story. It just stuck in my head. He said, a businessman that I know of, over the years, he's had lots of different attempts at getting different businesses off the ground. He's really worked his socks off, but he's never really had the luck he deserves until 5 years ago. Him and his wife, they remortgaged their house and they threw every last drop of money they've got left into this one business. And he said, thank goodness this business has flown. He said, it's made them a fortune. He said, believe you me, you've never met a more deserving couple. He said, they've worked so hard. He, the husband, has never, ever in his life owned a brand new car. And his wife turned around to him. She's not being funny, but if you want to go and get yourself a new car, get out there, go and get yourself one. He goes out to choose a new car. It ends up a choice between a Mercedes and a Lexus. In the end, he goes for the Mercedes. Within days, the top of the range, all singing, all dancing, fully loaded, beautiful Mercedes arrives on his driveway. He's like a big kid at Christmas. He's so excited driving around in it when suddenly he notices it's missing the cigarette lighter. So something that costs next to nothing in such an expensive car. He said, "You've never seen anybody get so upset. He doesn't even smoke." He's on the phone to Mercedes. Mercedes said, "We're so sorry. We promise you, we will sort it out for you." By chance, the very same day, the Lexus salesperson phoned him in his office and said, "I'm just wondering if you've made a decision yet on your choice of cars." Oh, he said, "I have." He said, "I've taken delivery today of a Mercedes." Straight away, the Lexus salesperson turned around and said, "Mercedes are beautiful cars." He said, "You must be absolutely over the moon delighted, thrilled to bits." He said, "Well, I am and I'm not." And he told him about the missing cigarette lighter. Straight away, the Lexus salesperson turned around and said, "Mercedes are fantastic with customer service. I have no doubts whatsoever. I'm absolutely sure that they'll sort it out for you." He said, "Look, I don't want to keep it any longer." He said, "All I ask is please, 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 when eventually you get bored of driving around that Mercedes of yours one day, that you reconsider buying a Lexus." He said, "Hey, I promise I will. I really appreciate you calling. Good to talk to you. Thank you." This man at the end of the day leaves his office. He goes to the car park. He gets in his new Merc, drives home to his house. His house is in darkness. His family have gone out somewhere. He's just trying to get his key in the door and get to the door with all these bags and his bits. When suddenly his neighbour comes bounding up the drive with a great big parcel in her hands. So, "I'm so glad I've caught you. I've been looking out the window for you coming home. A delivery guy tried to deliver this parcel to your house around about 4 o'clock this afternoon. No one was in, so I took it off him and signed for you. So thank you so much." He takes the parcel into the kitchen. He unwraps it. There in the middle of the parcel is a shoebox. And there in the middle of the shoebox is a mountain of cotton wool. Nestling on top of the cotton wool is the Mercedes cigarette lighter. And underneath it is a compliment slip that just simply says, "With very best wishes, your Lexus salesperson." Boom. TNTs are all the little things that people don't need to do, but do. And when they do them, they can make such an enormous difference. They could be as small as a smile, as tiny as a thank you, remembering someone's first name, remembering if someone takes milk or sugar in their tea or coffee, calling somebody back when you said you would, a handwritten note in the world of emails and text messages. People will long forget an email. They'll long forget a text message. They'll never, ever forget that handwritten note. Just a few words to say thank you or show your appreciation to someone. It will blow them away. Do you know, when I'm speaking at live events in coffee breaks and I'm chatting to delegates, quite often they're telling me how much they love working where they're working. Or on the other hand, they're tugging me away to one side and whispering in my ear that they're thinking of leaving. I'll tell you what, either way, it's never, ever to do with the big stuff. It's always to do with the TNTs, the little stuff. As part of one of the workshops I run, I ask people in this workshop, what is it you want more than anything else from people around you in your team? And you know, we end up with post-it notes all around the walls with lovely words on. We've got words like recognition, we've got validation, we've got support, all these words. And at the end of a 90-minute session, they all get percolated down into just 3 words. And it's always the same 3 words that we put up on a flip chart. The first word is the word time. Somehow, no matter how crazily busy it is, no matter how hectic we feel we are, we have to make time if we're to engage and connect with people. We have to make time and space, even if it's just for a few seconds, to say hello or ask how somebody is. The second word is the word care. Somehow we have to show on the outside just how much we're caring on the inside. I think one of the issues here is a lot of people probably do really care deep down inside, but unless they're able to demonstrate that through their TNT gestures and actions on the outside, people may probably begin to think that maybe they don't care. I don't mind working long hours. I don't mind doing a really tough job. So as long as I think people around me care. They care about themselves, they care about the rest of the team, they care what we're trying to achieve together, they care about our services, our customers, and yeah, they care about me. I don't mind working all hours that God sends, as long as I think people care. And you know, I think the key is to be more passionate and enthusiastic about other people around you than they are themselves. I've always found that when you are more passionate about other people and what they are capable of achieving, that A, they seem a lot happier in their work, and B, they tend to achieve an awful lot more. And yeah, it makes me feel good doing that for people. And the third word is the word human. Please, no matter how successful you become, no matter how important you think you are, please never, ever try to come across as being perfect with people. People really do struggle to connect with people who are trying to be infallible. Please, please, please be authentic. Be yourself, be human the whole time. You know, it's the old joke, isn't it? Why did they put rubbers on pencils and bumpers on cars? Because we all make mistakes. I want to work with people who have fallibility, who make mistakes at times. I want to work with authentic people. And you know, one of the great things about working virtually when we're working from home is, you know, if the doorbell goes, so what? It shows we're human. If a dog starts barking, we're human. And if an over-inquisitive child runs in and starts tapping on the keyboard and waving and saying hello to people, it's brilliant. It's showing that we're human. At the end of the day, I think it's all about how we make people feel. And what I really do know is that great people make people feel great. And they make people feel great with their little TNT actions. And great organizations, both large and small, make people feel great. If you want to experience TNTs at their absolute best, just go and stay for one evening at the Glen Eagles Hotel in Scotland. I'd never stayed there before. This is years ago. I'm speaking at a conference up there. The first evening, I'm walking past reception, and suddenly the receptionist looked at the gentleman in front of me, and she looked at him and said, "Good evening, Mr. Edwards. Just to let you know, your table's booked for you and your wife at 8 o'clock tonight." She then looked at me, smiled at me, and said, "Hello, Mr. Webster, how are you?" I'm looking for my name badge. I said, "I'm very well, thank you." She said, "I understand it's your first ever stay here at Glen Eagles. Are you enjoying it?" I said, "It's absolutely fantastic, thank you." Yeah. She said, "Well, your table's booked for a late sitting for you and 5 guests for 9 o'clock tonight. Please, if you need anything, please come and see me." The next morning, I'm sort of half asleep, bleary-eyed, walking down a long corridor, looking for where breakfast is being served. And there was a lovely old gentleman hoovering the floor. He instantly turned the vacuum cleaner off, smiled at me and said, "Good morning, Mr. Webster. How are you doing?" Apologies for my pathetic attempt at a Scottish accent there. I said, "I'm very good, thank you." He said, "You any chance looking for breakfast?" I said, "I am." He said, "I'll take you there. I'm sat having breakfast with the head of training." And I said to the head of training, "Can I ask you something? How on earth did that wonderful lady on reception last night, how did she know my name? How did she know it's the first time I've ever stayed here? How did she know it's, you know, what time I'm booked into the restaurant?" He said, "Adrian, stop. She is a world-class hotel receptionist. She makes it her business to know things like that. She works incredibly hard at the little things to make you feel incredibly good about yourself." I said, "What about the lovely gentleman I just met back there hoovering the floor?" He said, "Adrian, it's the collective responsibility of everybody in the Glen Eagles team to make anybody staying here feel like they're the only guests we have in a hotel. Our whole goal is to make people feel incredibly special." And I thought, wow, what an attitude. Wow, that's what TNTs are all about. And you know, the really great thing about TNTs is they're all things we can all easily do ourselves. We might not be able to do really big things that make a huge difference, that change the world, but we can all do little TNT things that just give people a lift, quite often a lift that people didn't even know they needed. And then collectively, when they come together, oh my goodness, what a difference we can make together. And the really, really, really great thing about them is they are contagious. They are contagious. When we give a TNT, when we do a TNT for somebody else, it not only makes them feel great, it makes us feel good too. Apparently a whole bunch of cocktail chemicals, a whole cocktail of chemicals, happy chemicals, gets released in our brains, which makes us feel good. what I really do know is when I do a TNT, I get this lovely, warm, fuzzy feeling inside myself. Somebody, a young delegate at one of the workshops I was running, summed it up best. They described it as feeling lit. And I thought, yeah, that's how I feel when I do a little TNT for someone. I feel lit. TNTs are contagious. 7 a.m. on Wednesday morning at St. Petersburg, Florida, a drive-through Starbucks. The driver in the car in front decided to buy the person in the car behind a free cup of coffee, buy them a cup of coffee. This pay it forward cycle went on for the next 11 hours. 11 hours, 378 people enjoyed a free drink because of that pay it forward cycle. TNTs are contagious. Please, 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 never, ever for one moment overlook the TNTs. They're the big things to someone else.